Hi, this is a playthrough of all of the examples on the sheet for our fingerpicking workshop. So if you came to one of my fingerpicking workshops recently, all I'm going to do is go through the sheets that you took away from that and play through all of the examples in order, just so you can have a reference as what they sound and look like. If you've not been to my fingerpicking workshop, then some of this might not make any sense to you. I can't really provide tablature for it without delivering the workshop to you. So I recommend that if you are interested in what's in this and you haven't been to my fingerpicking workshop, have a look around, see if I'm doing it anywhere near you or at a festival near you. And failing that, and you want me to come along to your club and run it for everybody at your club, get in touch. Okay, fingerpicking workshop. The first thing we talked about was the numbering of the strings. They are numbered from the floor to the ceiling. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we did some little patterns on the open strings. The first one was 3, 2, 4, 1, which is the inside pair of strings followed by the outside pair of strings, played with thumb, finger, thumb, finger. Then we did the opposite of that. We just started at the end, did it backwards. So we started with a finger on the first and went 1, 4, 2, 3. Finger, thumb, finger, thumb. And then finally we did 4, 1, 2, 3, which is exactly the same pattern as the first one, but sort of starting halfway through. So instead of going 3, 2, 4, 1, 3, 2, 4, 1, we go 4, 1, 3, 2. Then we have a pattern with a pinch, which is finger and thumb at the same time. Now bear in mind that when we do the pinch, we have to leave a gap afterwards where there would have been a note, but now we've squashed both notes together at the same time. If we don't leave that space, we run out of picks before we get to the end of our bar. So now we have to do 1 and 4 together, then leave a space where previously we had played a note, then do 3, 2. So we get this: 1, rest, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. That's a pinch of 1 and 4, and then 3, 2. Okay, then we've turned that into our first musical pattern, and I've written that out in tablature. Again, it's all open strings. That's what that one sounds like if I keep going round that 1 bar pattern. That pinch always comes on the 1. 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and... I'm not going to play through the chord progressions that I've given you because they're all straightforward open chords that you'll already know, and really they're just examples that you can use to plug that pattern in, if you like, in the place of a strum. And I also recommend that you try these pick patterns for songs that you already know in your club songbook. So the one I've got listed as part 3, the folk pattern, is like this. I'll do it nice and slowly because not only is it a picking pattern, it has some chord changes in it. So here we go. Do that one more time. Okay. Number 4 we've got listed as blues, and this starts on the G7, and really it's just a way of getting back from G7 to C with that pesky blues note, which in the key of C, the 3rd fret on the C string, we discussed in the workshop how that note and the open 2nd string clash pretty horribly, and one of them is the note that makes the chord of C major into a major chord, and the other one is the one that makes the chord of C into a minor chord, and we're playing both of them, and a lot of blues walks this line between major and minor. We also discussed the fact that that note is going to be played once and once only, and if you start playing it too much, it sounds horrible. So here's our little pattern. So So the first bar is just a G7 with that familiar picking pattern. The last bar is a C with that familiar picking pattern. All the interesting stuff happens in that middle bar. And then I've given you, in tablature, a 12-bar blues pattern. Very, very straightforward rhythm, just 4 chords to the bar. A few little passing changes in there, little passing chords, little chord changes. But I'll play that through nice and slowly for you, and then we'll talk about some turnarounds that we plug into the end of this. So here's the basic 12-bar blues pattern. And then I've given you 2 turnarounds. One of them is a bar long, and it replaces the last bar of that. And the other one is 2 bars long, so it replaces the final 2 bars. The first turnaround is very, very easy. It's just this. I'll do it again. So if I put that in context, if I play the last 2 bars and replace the final bar with that, it goes like this. Okay, and again. And then there's a 2-bar turnaround which sounds like this. And that replaces the final 2 bars. So if I play the last 3 bars and put that one in, we get this. Here we go. Part 5, Ragtime. Syncopation. We had an example of a bar that wasn't syncopated and one that was. And all syncopation is shifting the strong beats into places we don't expect them to be. And we achieve that with fingerstyle by moving the beat that the thumb falls on. Remember here, we are still playing 8 notes in a bar. The bar is not going any faster, there's no tempo increase. We're not shifting the timing of these in any way at all. All we're doing is rearranging the notes so that the thumb doesn't fall on the 1, 2, 3, 4, but falls on 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. We're given the impression of a bunch of 3, a bunch of 3 and a bunch of 2. And that messes with people's interpretation of the beat and the tempo and the feel. So here is our straight pattern. It's that familiar pattern we've done before, which feels like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 8 things. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now we're going to move that so that our thumb doesn't fall on that same regular beat, and then the fingers fill in between. We get this, which feels like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. But it's still exactly the same. I could count it the other way. I could go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Nothing has changed except the thumb now gives us this bum 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 sort of feel. If I swap between the two, you get the proper effect. Six, irregular patterns. Really, these are drills. Don't attempt to play that whole bar all the way through to begin with. These are just finger drills to get your fingers doing certain things. The first one, I'm going to name them after the very similar banjo rolls, 5-string banjo rolls, where they have forward, backward and forward, backward, backward, forward combinations of these things. So our forward roll is exactly the same as that ragtime one we just did. And all of these can be moved onto different sets of strings. They don't all have to be done on the, for example, my first one goes and doesn't play the fourth string, but I could equally move that so that I'm on the other three strings. Or that my thumb's on the fourth string and I'm missing out the third string. It's the sequence of thumb and fingers that's important, not necessarily what string they're on. But I'll play what's written there. Then the backward one. Then the forward backward, which just combines the two. And those are really good drills, just to do each bar on its own over and over again. And what it will do is it will start to get some of these patterns into your muscle memory so that you don't have to think so hard when you want your hand to do them. The next bit is those irregular patterns are really, as well as being drills, are an example of how something that you think is an irregular pattern is actually just a bunch of regular patterns squashed together. However, there are, in fingerpicking, some pieces that don't really have a picking pattern. They're simply, like this one, a melody, and then you fit other notes around that melody to fill it out and to suggest the harmony, suggest the chords. So the melody that we've got written down sounds like this. And then I play that exact same melody, but sometimes I will double up the strings and play a chord. Other times I'll fill in some of those big gaps with more little picking patterns based around the chord. And finally, right at the end of the workshop, we had a little look at how you could make that chord melody picking apply to something like Irving Berlin's Blue Skies. So we just did the first 8 bars of Blue Skies. And there you go. So if you came to the fingerpicking workshop, thanks for coming, and I hope those will serve as a nice little reference to help you when you're maybe a few weeks after the workshop, you pick out the sheet again and have a look and think, oh my goodness, how did that go again? Or what was that for? If you haven't been to the fingerpicking workshop, try and get along to one. See you again soon. Bye.